How you doing out there, folks? It's just me again. In case you have missed my videos over the last month or so, I have been bad-mouthing Merrick Bank for harassing me about a bill that I don't know. It's not in my name anyway, and it's got a lot of sentimental value about this. So let's see. Let me go back to 2018. Me and Marie have been together for over 40 years. And we're having a nice quiet day at home and going over a few things. And Marie's lack of interest was like an all-time low right now. So, okay, the mail came. I said, here, Marie, this is for you. And she opened it. She didn't look too interested at all. And I said, okay, I didn't know what's she going to say. Next thing she says, Frankie, Merrick Bank wants to give me $600. I'm pre-approved. I said, well, be good, be glad, because she was so proud of that, that she got praise for, got something for her because of her credit, It was acknowledged, and, she really was, her personality changed for the better. It didn't last, but it was good, I was glad to see it, so I checked it over, because she asked me, what does this double the credit line mean? So I said, let me see it, Marie. And I looked it over, and it said, if you make 7 on-time payments, you will get another $600. Oh, that's good, Frankie. I want it. Then she asked me a question. It's amazing, this question, but I'll repeat it. She said, Frankie, does that mean every time we make 7 payments, I'm going to get $600 more? I said, no, Marie. They might come up with something like that, but not this time. So that really was, I remembered that because she asked that, and I thought it was kind of cute in a way. Yeah, because she associated that. It showed me that her thinking wasn't that off, because she said that they're going to get, every time we make 7 payments, to get another $600. I told her that I don't think. They want to give you credit and they want you to owe a lot of money, but they're not going to do it that easy. So we got everything filled in on the computer, and she put me down as the authorized user. She's the card holder. Okay, then there's something came up, and something she have to check, and I went over it with her. It's some kind of, I guess you could say it's a disclosure. It says on there, you have to agree or give permission to let them call you on your cell phone and leave messages with an auto dialer and leave text messages and all that. I told Marie all about it, and it says if you don't agree, the offer will be rescinded. So she said, I'm not going to get the $600 if I don't check it? I said, no. He said, well, I want the credit, I'll check it, I don't care about the calls. Okay, if that's what you want to do. So she submitted it, and I got the email back. It says it's all approved. You received the cards in about a week to 10 days. We got the cards. I made the payments. She used the card. And I paid off some bills with it. We got the double the credit line. The $600 went in. Kept paying it. Then Marie starts getting sick. Again, everything, she started to go back into the doldrums again, It's physical and mental. So I had to call the emergency because she wasn't getting around good and, off of balance and everything. So they did all the tests they did and all. They come up with that she's got dementia and Alzheimer's and some physical ailments and respiratory distress, that she has to go into a nursing home, for long-term care. So I said, well, if it has to be. So I went there to see her, and she seemed to be doing better. Once she got in a nursing home with all that care, she seemed to be doing better. And then I was glad I was going there as much as I could. And she asked me a couple times, believe it or not, Frankie, how we doing with Merrick Bank? She remembered that. I said, oh, we're doing good. I'm paying them. I continue to pay. We still have credit left. And whatever you want, I could get it for you and bring it here. So she told me some things she wanted. So I went and bought them. So she still remembered that card. And some time passes, and I'm still paying and all. And all of a sudden, she takes a turn for the worst. And next thing I know, She passes away in the nursing home. So I did the best I could. We had discussed this years ago, that if something happened to me, she would go on the best she could. And I said, if something happens to you, I'll go the same way. She wanted me to go on and do what I'm doing, you know. So that's what I'm doing this for. And it does have some sentimental value, that credit card, because that was the last credit card that we had together. And it turns out it was a good thing in the beginning. Now it's not. Okay, so I kept paying the bills for a while. I couldn't pay too much longer. I stopped a lot of the credit cards that we had, both of them. I had gotten this lawyer, and he helped me to work it out with the credit cards. He stopped the calls, and he also stopped the payments, you know, that I wouldn't be able to have to pay. And he got money from me, and he got paid for his service. Of course, if some of the cases didn't go through, he wouldn't get paid. So he would be working as a consumer advocate. So that all worked out all right. And then finally, this was the last one, this Merrick Bank. And I kept paying, like I said. I don't know why I did it. Out of respect for Marie, I guess, because I know how much she liked that card, you know. So I kind of like did it for her, mostly. So finally, I just couldn't, you know. I just couldn't pay it. Well, I contacted the lawyer. Lucky to have a lawyer. It's nice to have one that does that kind of work. And I had looked up, he did do Merrick Bank. That was one of the banks that he does. He has certain banks that he deals with that he knows how to handle them. You know, they want to make a settlement. They don't want it to go higher, you know, than that. They want to do it out of court. So that's what he's working on. So when I told him what happened and all, and he stopped the calls. The calls that I got in November 2019, he stopped it. Right, pretty quick. The landline stopped in about 2 days. The cell phone stopped less than that. So all that was all right. I said, okay. He put in the litigation to Merrick Bank and all. So that took. He's dealing with their lawyers and all. Then all of a sudden, a month and a half later, right in the very beginning of January of 2020, I saw the phone ring. And I saw it on the caller ID because it goes on the TV screen. It said Merrick Bank. Now, what the heck did they want? I thought it might have had something to do with the complaint that I have in and all about the calls. But then I noticed it was only on the landline, the calls. I wonder why. Because I didn't give him permission to call me. Marie did, but I didn't. No, they were the same phone numbers. Landline and cell phone, but they're in my name. And I'm the one that put the complaint in, and I'm the authorized user. So what was this? So it started ringing again. I got my phone log, the name, the date, the time, and the phone number they used. And then he comments. There's no comments because they don't leave a message. They didn't leave any message, and when you pick up the phone, nobody's there. It's like dead air, and then it goes to a busy signal, I guess, as the robot goes on to dial more calls, you know. So that went on. I let it go for a couple of weeks just to see if it was just going to be the landline, and it was. So I contacted the lawyer, and he said, well, I'm going to reach out to them, Frank, and see what I can do. The calls still kept coming. I called him again. I waited a little bit, you know. I notified him again. And he says, Frank, don't worry, I'm working on it. We'll make them stop. Okay, so now the calls just stopped at the end of January. So it was over 80 calls. But now this lawyer I have, he stopped them the first time, and he stopped them the second time. Now, what are they going to do? Wait another month and a half and start calling again? Well, even though they're not calling now, there's quiet in here. I can make these videos without the phone ringing. Okay, so now, at this point in time, I'm just waiting for the settlement. If there is going to be one, it might be another case because of these harassing phone calls that I've been getting now, you know, that I just got. Over 80 calls. And not one time was there a live person that called on the phone. Not once. Okay, so now when they call on the phone, they're using different phone numbers. Now, what does that make any difference? They all go to the call center. All the numbers are valid, and they don't leave a message, of course, like I said, and they just keep calling, and they don't call maybe in the day early part at all. The earliest I got a call was 11:30 a.m. That's in the January calls. Now, then they call 3 more times. And sometimes they didn't call on Sunday. Not in January calls, but they did in November 2019. They called on Sunday. Because I got 7 calls one day. Not on Sunday. I got 2 on the cell and 2 on the 5 on the landline. That was 7 in one day. That's when they were calling both numbers. Now that it was just calling the one number, it was like 4 a day. Then they didn't call on Sunday, and what do? On Saturday, 4 calls, right? And Sunday, no calls. Then Monday, no calls until what? Till 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, huh? Then they got the 4 calls in, huh? Now that's not harassment? They're allowed to call. According to the law, creditors and debt collectors are allowed to call after 8 a.m. and before 9 p.m. Now they have plenty of time to call. But they're not supposed to be annoying the person. And that, wouldn't you think I'm being annoyed? I'm annoyed so much that even though I got the lawyer and all working on it, I'm so annoyed. That's why I'm doing all this bad mouthing on social media about them. So that must prove that I'm annoyed. I don't like it, and I'm not going to like it, and I don't care who Merrick Bank thinks they are. They're not above the law. So I'm just going to continue to do my ranting on social media. If people want to listen to it, that's good. If not, it's still good. I talked to my lawyer about it. He knows all about it. And I told him if he doesn't think it's a good idea, well, I'll stop. If he tells me to, I will stop. Because I respect him a lot for his work. Being an advocate for the consumer. And I really appreciate that. So if anybody out there is having problems with, don't say Merrick Bank, any bank. But I was mostly after Merrick Bank customers. Because they're the ones that do all this calling, you know. Some of these other banks do it also. You know, their tactics, their unethical tactics. So if you are having a problem, and since the lawyer I have, he deals with Merrick Bank, but other banks also. So I'll give you his name, Paul Mankin, Mankin. And for a free consultation, you can call him 800-219-3577. I'll repeat the name, Paul Mankin. You can call him at 800-219-3577. That's a toll-free number. If he's not there, you can leave a message, but he also has a secretary to answer the phone, or he might even answer. So you have nothing to lose. If you're getting called like I am, I'm pretty sure there's somebody out there getting these calls. So you may as well give him a call. He'll give you a free consultation, and there's no obligation, so it's not going to cost you anything. Either way, if he takes your case, you don't have to pay him. The bank has to pay him and the court costs, and they have to pay, I guess, if you get any money, you could get $1,000 just for the harassment. You can get more with the cell phone, using that auto dollar. You can get more money. I think it's $500 to $1,500 a call. That's why it's important that you keep a phone log, because the fact that you have all that down, and they could try to deny it, but the calls are going to match their list, which they'd have to produce, if it went to court. So keep all that in mind. Now, as far as, see this permission thing, Marie checked it, when we signed up for it, she checked it to give permission for them to call. But I don't think that was done right. In other words, if they're giving you an offer and you don't sign, you don't give permission for them to call you on the cell phone, using the auto dollar, then they're going to rescind the offer? I don't think that's right to do it that way. I don't think that's allowed. It's allowed for them to get permission, but maybe they're whoever they have, the provider they might have to make them calls, I think that's supposed to be separate, not combined with that offer. So right there's another problem. How are they going to explain that? I mean, there's a law that says they're not supposed to use an auto dialer to call the cell phone, or text messages or anything like that without permission. Okay, permission, huh? Why? Then why have to have permission? There must be a reason for it. The reason is because they want to harass you. And another reason is on the cell phone. Well, the cell phone I have, I don't know for sure, that if they call you, the number comes up, and maybe it'll say Pennsylvania, New York, or whatever in the state. That's another reason why. Because you don't know who it is. They can hide behind it that way. So that's why they can't, have to get your permission. Because what I did was, they're calling on the cell phone and the landline the same numbers. In other words, they use, I think it was 6 different numbers. So when they call me on the landline, they use the same number for the whole day, and they also use that same number when they call me on the cell phone. So what I did was, as soon as I saw the number, I went into contacts, and I put Merrick Bank with that number. So next time they call, they come up Merrick Bank. So you could do that also, so you would know for sure, when you check your missed calls or whatever, you'll know. But I have answer machine on both of the numbers. They didn't leave no messages, like I said, on all those calls. No messages, and you can't even answer it. They don't let you. I guess they don't want to do that, because if they leave a message, then you don't answer, they're going to say, well, why you keep calling them after you left the message? So they want to make sure that they can get all those calls in. I guess they can call anywhere from, I don't know, 10 calls, I don't know, a day. I know I got 7 in one day from them. So I guess they have it set up. However they do it, I know the phone numbers they're using, they're all valid. Because I've called the numbers, and they all go to the call center. Same one. I think the different numbers might mean setting like so. Whatever number you call, it goes to a different customer care representative. So they can distribute the calls that way. So not one of them will get all the calls. I know because I called. I have it on a video. It's on one of these videos that I've been making. I called the Merrick Bank, and when I called, another robot call comes up when I call. It answers it. It says that this call is being recorded for quality assurance. So if I don't want to be recorded, then I guess I got to hang up then. Well, I want it recorded anyway. So I waited, and right away the customer care person comes on the phone. And I told her, I'm letting you know that this is being recorded for quality assurance. At first she said, I don't agree. And then she agreed. She started asking me all the information. I gave it to her. And then she puts me on hold with that music they play, that's guy called funny music, it's some boring music that they put on there. She come back pretty quick. I guess she didn't know what to do, with the way I came on to her. I tried to control myself. But then I told her what happened, that the card holder passed away. And she said, we don't have no record of that. I said, well, you should, because I have a lawyer that has a case against you, and he knows all about it. So we continued on, and I said, you don't even give me any condolences for my loss. And I guess all Merrick Bank cares about is the loss of the money, not the loss of someone's loved one, right? Oh, no, Merrick Bank don't care about the money. That's what she said. I don't think she should have said that. They didn't give her permission to say that. What? They don't care about the money, then why are they calling like they do for the money? And that's what I say, those calls got me this time. I've been experienced calls like this before. I have experience with it. This is not something that just happened over, once. I mean, recently with all the bills that I couldn't pay, one of the banks called, and I didn't get the lawyer at that time. It was before I got the lawyer. So I sent him a cease and desist letter. It was a credit card company. And I told them the situation and all, and the call stopped. Then all of a sudden, it did start up again. But then when I got the lawyer, it stopped. But this is a little different situation. Because I guess they didn't want to honor that cease and desist letter. They did, and then they changed their mind because they realized that a creditor don't have to honor that. The debt collector does. So they probably found that out, so they start calling. Maybe because we did have two different accounts. Even though when I sent the cease and desist letter, I sent two of them, one for each account. And I told them that what happened and all, but they stopped it and then started up then, but not like this. Because I got the lawyer then and it stopped when he contacted them. But this is different. This stopped for a month and a half and then started up again. I'm not responsible for that account that they're trying to collect, Merrick Bank. With these calls, I'm an authorized user. I'm not a joint card holder. And I didn't sign for it, you know. I'm not a co-signer for that account. I'm an authorized user and I can't be held responsible. We have two different names and we're not legally married. And we don't have an estate, either one of us. So I'd like to know, who are they going to collect from? Bad enough when they found out that account, it says in the law, I looked it up, and it says that if account holder passes away, that the account is considered a zombie debt. Because in order to try to collect it, you're going to have to bring it back to life. And that's what they're doing, I think. They're contacting me. That's why they were calling me the second time. First of all, because I had litigation against them. So they were, I guess, retaliating against me. Well, they can do it now. Why don't you retaliate against me for bad-mouthing them on social media? Why don't they? You mean this bad-mouthing I'm doing against Merrick Bank, it's going all over. I'm sure, and I even told the woman when I talked to her on the phone that I'm on social media about it, and then she wanted to get off the phone. She said, that's it? I said, yeah, if there's anything else, you can call me, I guess. You've been calling me all along. She hung up and all, and I control myself to a point, you know. But again, I'm doing all this. I'm trying to reach people out there that might be having problems. I'm trying to help people. I'm not really getting anything out of it. I'm getting satisfaction knowing that I'm giving information out there that might help somebody. Because I know, I've been through this for years, that when you have problems, you can't worry about those credit cards. You have to worry about your rent and bills that you have to pay to continue on till you can resolve the situation that you're in. So if you feel really bad about it, I know, because I've been through it a lot, where when you can't pay and then the calls start coming, you feel that, well, how am I going to do anything against a bank like that, you know, which is a big bank. Merrick Bank is big, but they're not, you know, as big as some other banks. You figure, what am I going to do? I can't afford a lawyer. It costs me more than what I owe them. But see, that's the difference. You can afford the lawyer because he's acting in your behalf, and especially the lawyer like I have, that there's a lot of lawyers out there too. But he's dealing, you know, for the consumer. He's an advocate. Remember, he's not charging you, and he's giving you the service that you couldn't get from any other lawyer, because he's an expert in the credit card companies. He's an expert with them. And he deals with certain ones that he knows that he could probably win. Because if he doesn't win, he doesn't get any money. You don't have to pay him either way. So the bank has to pay his fee, his time, and they have to pay the court costs, and the bank has to pay, if I would get any money, they have to pay me. So keep it all in mind that you don't have to worry about that. If you're feeling that you need time, you need to, you know, they stop those calls. I mean, it's just annoying, you know. I'm expecting calls here all the time. But right away, when the phone rang, it just so happens they were calling mostly in the afternoon. I get more of my calls in the morning, depending on, you know, what it's in reference to. I do get calls on that line. because it's easy for me to deal with when I'm home, the landline. So if that's a problem you're having, you don't have to take it. Just remember that. These laws are set up to protect the consumer. I mean, you can put a complaint in the Consumer Protection Bureau, the Better Business Bureau, your Attorney General in your state. You can contact him. He might be able to do something, because if he gets enough complaints, he might investigate it, So you can do that, and it's going to help, because if there's enough people complaining about the same bank or the same issues, that's when they start trying to do legislation to protect us. So it's important to do it. So again, it's like anything else. I know what it means. You need time to get straightened out when you're having problems. And the same with me. I'm by myself now. And it's hard, this new lifestyle that I have. That's why I have some time to do this, to make these videos. Remember, they're not scripted. I don't have it written down or nothing. I just know the situation I'm in, and I'm trying to continually, work on it, So right now, like I said, I'm keeping doing this for now. Again, like, when these calls get stopped, however it is, you still owe the debt. It doesn't change that. In my case, it's different because that debt is not in my name. So that is important to know. So right now, if you want to, like I said, I'll give you the lawyer again, because I know I'm endorsing him all the time and giving testimonials, because I appreciate so much what he did for me, how he's helped me. He's still helping me. And it's my way to show that I'm trying to get him business, and he can also help people. That's what he wants to do. So I'll give you his name again, Paul Mankin, Mankin, and it's 800-219-3577. That's 800-219-3577. So give him a call. Like I said, it's a free consultation and all. Now let's cover a couple more things here. Now I will be letting everybody know on social media, what's going on here, But since I have the one case in, and he may add it on, all them January calls that I got, but it takes time to try to settle it, because they want to settle out of court. I mean, a settlement, I already had it several times with this lawyer. That's why I'm so appreciative of what he's been doing. It takes time, though. You're going to have to be patient. Sometimes I get a little, impatient, but it's worth doing it, though. It's better than doing nothing. At least you can stop the calls. You can get yourself maybe in order, get your affairs in order. Okay, so I have one case. I'm just going to go over to show you what can be done. It's a bank. It's not a big bank, but I had 3 different accounts, like 3, credit accounts. They're not MasterCard or Visa, just store accounts. 3 of them. I had them for about 8 years, and I was paying all that time, and the credit was like $1,000 on each one, so that was $3,000. And they were calling me for it, because when I couldn't pay, the call started, and it was on the cell phone too. It was on both. I think it was mostly the cell phone. So as soon as I contacted the lawyer, he put the litigation in. It took a few months. And then he contacted me, and he asked me, am I agreeing with what he said? He told me that they're going to pay his legal fees and the court costs, and they're going to mark the 3 debts that I owe. It's like $3,000. Mark it paid. No more calls, that's for sure. And I got some money out of it. So that's the way it can work out. But if you don't do anything, nothing's going to happen. If you think that you might get back on your feet, maybe in 2 or 3 months, well, because they're going to probably send it to collection. Because I got the statements, and it says on the statement, if they don't make the payment, to catch up the bill, they send it to collection. Well, what is that? Merrick Bank is their own collection, huh? Their collection then. Didn't go to another company. It's their billing. Another one of their tactics, that they're going to send it to collection, Their collection is right there in-house. They probably already have it there because they have all the information. Here's another thing I noticed about this permission to call you. You get that when you get the statement. If you look at the piece that you mail in, the receipt you mail in, look on the back, it had change of address on it. So if you had to change address or phone number, on the bottom's the phone number, right? And what's it have? It's got the work number and the cell number, but it doesn't have the home phone. Why is that? Because they don't care about that. Because they're not supposed to call you at work without your permission, and on the cell phone either. So they got that on the bottom of that receipt, on the back of it. And it says on there, you give them permission to call using an auto dollar. It says it right underneath where you put the phone numbers. So they got it on there. So that means they want to call. When it comes down to it, no matter what the law says, they want to call no matter what. They figure everybody doesn't know about it, so they start calling you and they harass you and they think that nobody's going to say anything. They don't know what to do. Well, you have to put up with it then, right? They want to call. That shows you, no matter what the law says, they're circumventing the law because the law said they have to get permission. But even if they get permission and you tell them, look, I call up one of them, them customer care people who don't care, call one of them up and tell them, look, I want the permission rescinded, okay, to call me. You can deal with me through my lawyer, or I want to go by mail. And they're supposed to honor that. So you have to keep track of all that. If you do anything like that, make sure you write it all down, who you talk to and on. In this case, I did it on the computer, on social media, so I did it live when I made the call. So I got that all documented there. So that's, if I need it, if something comes up and they said they weren't notified, just in case, It's important that you document these things as much as possible. I'm just going to cover one more area here, the late fees. I'm sure everybody knows what late fee means. If you don't make a payment, they're going to charge a late fee. I mean, it's $39, up to close to $40 now. That's an awful lot. What's that, to deter you from being late? If your bill's due on the 15th of the month, and you get there on the 16th, you're late. But the bill might not be mailed out until the 22nd, the closing date. Now, how do you feel that if you've been paying on time and you get the statement and you see on there late fee and your payment's on there too? I mean, you can call and usually they'll take it off. I don't know about Merrick Bank though. Usually they'll take it off because if it's the first time, they'll say, oh, well, now make sure you get it in by the due date. Years ago, I don't think it was that way. I don't remember that. In other words, you were late. If the bill was due the 15th and you got it in before the 22nd, you weren't late. Now, if the bill got to the 23rd and they already mailed out the statement, then you are late and then you would get the late fee. It's not like that. Here's another one of those unethical tactics that they're doing. It's another tactic, because I was paying bills. All the bills that we had, the ones that weren't MasterCard or Visa, all those store cards, mail order accounts, I was paying them with Merrick Bank. And I noticed it, they're $20, $25, a month, So I was trying to pay them off, little by little like that. Because there was some we only owed 100 here, 75 there. I was trying to get rid of all those accounts. So I noticed on the statement, they charge $5 for each one as a cash advance fee. $5? If that was the case, it wasn't cash. They didn't give me cash, but they're looking at it that if I would have paid from my checking account, I would be paying from my cash. So they charged the cash advance. So it was $5. So if I should have just paid one off 1 month and paid another one another month. Then that way, if I had to pay $5, it wouldn't be on $25. It could be on $150. That whole thing, see, that's what I'm saying about those add-on fees. That's another one. And they charge for membership fee, maybe $100 a year, and then they charge every month, $7.99 or something like that. There's more money. And then plus the finance charges. So you got to watch out for that. I'm just doing this because I want to make everybody aware of all this stuff. I know a lot of times you don't pay attention. Even myself with all the bills, I'd be just writing all the checks, and do one at a time so I don't mix them up. And I would just file the bills away, And I might not notice it because I might say I thought I was on time and I didn't even pay attention. Now, there's a whole bunch of things that you got to look out for, and I know because I have a lot of experience with this. I'm in my 70s, and Merrick Bank's in business like 20 years, a little over 20 years. I got about 50 years experience with life and credit and everything, you know. I had so many credit cards over 20 years ago. I think I had 80 credit cards, but over 8 years. You know, in our name, both of our names, but in other names too that I made up and I used information and all. And I got in trouble for it. I got railroaded to prison for it. Because they really couldn't prove nothing. I mean, I didn't get in trouble for the false information. I got in trouble for the true information. Because I was paying the bills every month. I had files for all those accounts. I was paying them back and forth. Came to over $200,000. But it shouldn't have been $200,000. When the Postal Service broke in the doors in our house with guns drawn, it shouldn't have been. Because I was not a ringleader or nothing. That's what they didn't find a computer or nothing. They weren't supposed, on that affidavit of the search warrant, they weren't supposed to take anything in my name or Marie's name, any bills. You know, they wasn't supposed to count it. They counted it. They would have took all that off. It would have been under $200,000, and I wouldn't have went to prison. Because of that, that's why I say I was railroaded. They inflated the fraud loss total to make it be over $200,000, so I'd have to go to the prison camp, huh? Marie wrote 3 books about our life, and one of them was Railroad to Prison. You can get it. It's on YouTube. You just punch in Railroad to Prison by M.A. Holland, and you can get it. I did an audio book on it, and you can get the story if you want to find out the whole story. But she went through the whole thing about that, and she proved in there that I was railroaded to prison, and that was why she mostly wrote it that way. She wanted to clear my name. So now I don't care about credit now. I had enough credit for now. So the best thing I'll do now, all that credit, some of it got paid, and so that's one thing about it. It's going to be on the credit report for 7 years. Then I don't look to get any more credit cards. Not right now. Because if that all clears off my credit, I could start maybe one and see if I can get my credit again. But after all this, I know I don't want Merrick Bank. They were the last bank on the face of the earth. I don't want Merrick Bank. So Merrick Bank I'm probably giving Merrick Bank more advertisement than they ever had. Because I'm going on social media, and I know by doing this, people never even heard of Merrick Bank. Only the people who have the accounts. They send those offers all over. So what do? All these accounts that they have to write off, so they get new accounts, sending those offers out. So they keep the business going, huh? Well, I think it's time that they change the system that they have, because this calling, it's getting old, It's evolved to the way it is now on the computer and all, with this auto dialing and robots calling and all that. It's got to that point, but I think it needs to be changed. They need to take the people who are late, they need to try to contact them by those 6 numbers that I said? Let those agents call. Give them a special printout, and when someone's maybe a month or so late, let them call and see if they can make contact. If they can't, then you can still start the robocalls up. But you need to do something different. They don't even send out any letters. They don't send nothing out to try to find out what happened. And you get the statement every month. It's not on there. It just said, you don't pay the late payments and all that, it's going to go, it's already, well, they said collection, but it's already in collection because they're trying to collect it. So that's another thing. The cease and desist letter doesn't work with the creditor. They can honor it. They're not supposed to. That's for the debt collector. So that's how the laws that they have, it's the Federal Debt Collection Practices Act. So it's about debt collection. But if the creditor can't do all the things, they still can't harass you, though. So there's a whole bunch of stuff there that, the best thing is to get a lawyer, like I said. You don't have to put up with it. They know what they can do. They know how. They know the laws, and they keep up with the changes and all. So when you get a lawyer that specializes in credit cards, then you have a good chance that you'll be able, and you might even get some money out of it, but it's something you have to be patient and get the right lawyer. And I know the lawyer I have, he's definitely the right lawyer. For this kind of thing, I was so happy I got him. He's in San Diego, California, and I'm in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but it has nothing to do with it. The laws apply all over, so it really doesn't, because he's actually contacted the Merrick Bank in California there, where he is. So he knows that, who to contact about it. No sense to mess around with it. Whether you have Merrick Bank or any other bank, and you're having problems and you can't pay, and they're starting these calls and all, best thing, you need to stop it, one way or another. You have to stop it so you can keep your sanity, because this Merrick Bank, they could drive you crazy with these calls. I mean, I'm more experienced with it, so I can handle it because I'm keeping track. And I know they're going to have to stop, and they just can't keep doing it. I'm not making no deals with them. I'm just not going to. I don't have to, and I'm not going to. It's best, when you're older like I am now, I would be different when I was younger. I was more compulsive and all. And I say, oh, nothing can happen, you can't do that. But not now. Now I think everything out, more. I'm more disciplined and all, so I know the best thing to do is get a lawyer. That's the best thing. If you don't have to pay, well, you may as well do it then, So I'm going to have in the description, I'll have more information. I know I gave enough information here, but usually in the description, I'll put a few more things in there I might not have went over. Maybe it's not too clear. But it's important, like I said, to keep all this in mind. And if you stop paying, one of these credit card companies or debt collector, don't start paying again and then stop. Because the statute of limitations, it varies from state to state. In Pennsylvania, it's 4 years. So I know that 4 years doesn't mean when you open the account. It means from your last payment. So you don't want to start the clock running again. Because once the statute of limitation expires on that debt, it becomes uncollectible and it's legally forgiven. So nobody can collect that debt from you. If you don't know, if you don't know about it, they might talk you into anything. Oh, it's $500. Give us $100, we'll call it even. Don't make no deals, trying to make any deals, and don't agree to nothing. You're better off. So I'm trying to give this advice because I definitely want to help somebody out there. It's bound to get help from this, from the sound of my voice, You, especially Merrick Bank customers. I don't know if I'm reaching any of them or not, but I know they got close to 1 million customers, so I may be reaching a few people out there. So I'm going to keep, posting these videos. Sometimes I repeat the tweet. I put it on there, so in case you looked at it, but I have so many different ones that when I repeat them, you might not have seen it. Because every day, I'm either repeating or making a new one. I'll probably be making another one pretty soon. If I get any decision, about this case I'm on with Merrick Bank, I'll let you know about it to show what can happen. They've got to be made accountable. They have to. So, I had enough of it, with them, discussed it. Now they're not calling me. Well, I'm going to badmouth them for a while. See how they like it. Maybe it don't bother them. They figure I'm one person, so what? To heck with him. What can he do? I can make people besides me, go after them. Because if they start getting a lot of complaints all of a sudden, well, then that's going to be a problem for them. Because see, they're getting away with it because there's only a few. And if they get one, like say my case, and they have to pay the lawyer and pay me, they don't worry about it. They figure that's the cost of doing business. But they don't want a lot of people to do that. Well, that's what I want, a lot of people to do that, so that they can be aware of what they're doing. They just, like I said, me and Marie believed in Almighty God. Merrick Bank, they believe in the almighty dollar, huh? Well, we'll see what happens. Like again, they think when you owe them that money, they got power over you, but it's not the case. We have to abide by laws, and so does those banks. So just keep it all in mind. I hope what I said, means something to somebody out there. And I'll be posting this, and I'll have any other information I want to add in there. I think I covered everything pretty good. So you just viewed this case I have against Merrick Bank, and I do have it because I have a lawyer to do it for me. He's got access to the legal system and I don't. But I have access to social media, and that's, to me, is just as good. I thank you for your time, and I hope this information helps somebody out there. Have a great day.